Hey Roy, how you doing today?
Very good. Thank you, Roderick, and yourself.
I'm doing very well, thanks. And welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to go all in and connects them with professionals that can help them with it all. Now, today we have Roy with Synergetic Interpretations, and we truly appreciate you taking some time out to come on with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. This podcast, we created it to help our entrepreneurs that are tuning in to educate them on how to make it through this journey that they're going through, keep them motivated, as well as help them to solve some of the problems. And after talking with you, I know you are a wealth of knowledge with all the experiences that you've had in business, and they better put on their seatbelts and get ready for this ride they're about to go on today.
Absolutely. I look forward to it as well.
Well, what we always like to do is share with them a little bit about yourself and where are you from and some of the things that you have done to get you where you are. So, tell everybody, where are you from?
Okay, you find me in Johannesburg, South Africa today, and this is my hometown. And just to allay any concerns that folks may have, we do not have lions roaming the streets nor elephants in the back garden. We are regular folks as you have in Atlanta. So,
Awesome. Yeah, that is a misconception. A lot of people, think about Africa and they think it's just, third world, and you guys have large commercialized cities just like we do here.
indeed, we do. To touch on a comment you've just made about being a third world country, yes, we are categorized as a third world country. However, our infrastructure lends itself and looks very similar and identical to what you would find in any major city in the United States or in Europe, for that matter. So we do have third world considerations where power, electrical power, is a commodity that we cannot rely on day in, day out. We do have issues.
Hmm.
And as we do in the supply of certain things. But by and large, South Africa, if you haven't been to South Africa, I'm going to venture to say that you haven't been anywhere yet.
Awesome.
It's a
Awesome.
beautiful country.
Well, cool. Have you always lived there? Always in this
No,
same city?
no, Roderick. I was born in Mozambique on the east coast of Africa in a small northern city called Beira. Um, my father, at the time was a financial manager with what was then known as the Rhodesia and Nyasaland Railways. And I don't know how my dad worked it out that his firstborn and his lastborn children would be boys. And my dad wanted both his sons to be born on Portuguese territory. And that's precisely what happened. My late brother and myself were born in Mozambique. My elder sister also in Mozambique, my younger sister in what is now referred to as Zambia, but in those days was Northern Rhodesia. Now I'm going back to the mid 1950s. So if you study a bit of African history, you'll find the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland under British rule um, was a large chunk of the middle sector of the country of the continent that existed, and that was the era that I was born into. I was educated in Rhodesia, and I came to live in South Africa 44 years ago, and I, I was part of the corporate infrastructure in South Africa for that period of time.
Okay. So that's a big difference as far as being far away. What made you say, okay, I'm going to take on this position although it is so far away from my home?
Opportunity, pure and simple opportunity. And when you're a kid of 20, 21 years of age, and I say that with respect, you want to live on the wild side. You want to do things that you want to know if it's going to hurt or not.
Okay.
And being a red-blooded male, I wanted to know if it was going to hurt or not. And there I am.
I see. I see. So it was no family members there, or did you have any friends, any family
My,
coming down?
my eldest brother uh, did live in South Africa and had been here for about a decade prior to that,
Oh, okay.
prior to my arriving here. But I came down here not to live with him because he was living in a coastal city called Port Elizabeth, southeastern corner of the country, facing the Indian Ocean. And I came to Johannesburg, which is very much inland and right at the top of the country. So, and this is Johannesburg is the commercial hub of South Africa.
Okay.
Always has been since I've been here,
Hmm.
and I think it will continue for years to come.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that opportunity that you had when you were in your 20s. What is it that you were doing at that particular time?
I came out of the military in Rhodesia, and I came to South Africa and ventured into the information technology sector. And I started off as a desk side support technician, moved on to the old mainframe um, machines, became a mainframe technician, then an operator. Um, I then qualified as a technician, and I progressed that qualification to an engineer, electric light current engineer that worked on mainframes. And I worked on brands like, in those days, Sperry Univac, which no longer exists. They were taken over by Burroughs, who were taken over by Unisys, who were taken over by one of the IBM operating companies and dismantled. Um, NCR, National Cash Registers.
Hmm.
I had the privilege of working on a machine that was, the input was paper tape,
Okay. Okay.
long strips of paper tape with punched holes in it.
I've seen those
And
before. I've seen those before.
I must tell you a funny story about that. Walking into the computer room that housed this machine, there was a ramp at a gradient of probably about 8 or 9 degrees.
Okay.
And I was walking in holding a carton box full of these tapes that had an elastic band holding the tape in a compressed fashion. And I tripped going up this ramp,
Oh no.
and I spilt the entire box of tape all over the floor. And this resulted in a lot of the elastic bands holding various tapes together
Hmm.
breaking. So now I didn't know what sequence these things were in. And my shift supervisor came in and looked at the mess on the floor, and he said to me, "You don't have to tell me what you're going to be doing for the next 3 or 4 hours, because I know you're going to be trying to piece this lot together." And he turned around and walked away and instructed the rest of the shift not to talk to me until I'd fixed my problem.
How long did it take you to fix it?
I was still there at 6 o'clock the next morning.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That'll tell you to pick up your feet from this point on, I'm sure. That's a lesson learned.
Without a doubt. And I tell you what, I never made that mistake again, and neither did anyone else.
Yes, I can believe it. That's why we get on here and share these stories, so we can learn these entrepreneurs. You got to pick up your feet.
Oh, without a doubt. And it's a lifelong lesson.
I get it. I get it. So you're an engineer there. You were helping with those different products. How long did you stay in that position, and then what was next for you?
I stayed in that position for 9 months before I was offered a senior management position within the organization.
Okay.
6 months after that, I was made a director of a company. And a few months after that, I was given the opportunity of buying equity into the business.
Okay.
Out of my entire career of 44 years in corporate, I've spent 36 of them sitting at the main table as a director. I've been very privileged. I've had a lot of opportunities brought before me, which I've had the capacity to take on and embrace and make something positive out of it. And I've had the privilege on this continent to work for a number of multinational companies in a variety of industries. I've worked not only in the ICT sector, I've worked in telecommunications, in places like Nigeria on the west coast of Africa for a leading African telecoms company. I was the first CIO that this company employed, Chief Information Officer. I was there for 18 months, and I hope none of our Nigerian friends are listening, but boy, that's a difficult country to live in. Very difficult.
What were some of the challenges that you had?
Being an expatriate, living in the country and working for a foreign entity, as I did, and I was, we used to work 7 days a week. We would be up in Nigeria for 6 weeks at a time and then come home for 2 weeks, which were the equivalent of our weekends. Now, after a day's work, you couldn't just arrive back at your apartment and think, you know what, I'm going to go to the local grocery store and go and buy myself some candy and a soda. In order for me to do that, I would have to arrange a driver, a security man, and log my intended trip outside the staff compound with the control room.
Okay.
So that entire exercise of literally a 5-minute ride to the store was a 1.5 hour sequence of inconvenience for me. Because after working for 8 or 9 hours for the day, all I wanted was candy and a soda. And to go through all of that, it made it difficult. But there were also lots of good times. I met the first real life oil baron that I ever met was in Nigeria. And true to form, this guy had one of those 10-gallon hats on his head. He had the big cowboy boots and so on. And the only thing he didn't do is talk with a Texas accent.
Right.
He was Nigerian.
Okay.
And what a really lovely individual who asked us, because he was a main shareholder in our business, asked the technical team to go and help out in one of his companies in the oil district of Nigeria, which we did. He gave us all the required escorts and protection and hand-holding that was necessary. We weren't inconvenienced in any form, fashion, or manner.
Good.
It was myself and 2 of my colleagues that went out there for a Friday to Monday period over a weekend and to help resolve whatever issues he had, which we were successful in doing.
So it seems like you've been able to help different businesses to solve problems.
Yes.
For a while, you had to do that when you had your military experience. When you moved down, you were helping everyone to learn how to pick up their feet and make sure not to drop anything. And then you're even able to go and help oil barons with getting their process together. At what point in your thinking where you're like, okay, I'm happy to do this for other people, when did that idea start to flow of maybe I can help myself with my own business and help others?
Roderick, that idea permeated until I retired from the corporate world in 2017. I had the privilege of retiring at the top of my game as an executive director for a leading multinational pharmaceutical company. And I had responsibility for Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. And with that responsibility came an extensive amount of international travel to go to all the locations that I was responsible and accountable for. And based on that, when I did retire, I thought, okay, I'm now going to give back to industry what I've taken and received so much from. And I decided to become a consultant. And I looked for the one thing that I would sit back and say to myself when I was still an executive, that if that small business had the following 4 elements that they could show me, I would spend my money with them. So I came back to business planning because that was the biggest eyesore that I had in wanting to deal with small businesses, is that the guys, although they were keen, capable, competent, couldn't deliver information that Big Brother corporate needs before they can instruct their procurement department to spend the company's hard-earned dollars with a small business.
What are some of those things that they were missing that you're now helping people with?
Process, governance, risk mitigation, financial wherewithal. Not just send an invoice that's wrought with errors in the description of product, services. The discounting rate was not what was agreed, things of that nature. The whole CRM process did not fit into our ERP process. And because of mismatches, you can't always run human interference to remedy these things. So I decided that I'd come back and reach out to folks that had appetite and an attitude that I want to succeed.
Okay. What does that process look like when they come to you for that?
They come to me, I get two types of individual.
Mm-hmm.
The first is one that puts his hand up and says, do you know what? I'm a lost puppy. I've got 1 foot stapled to the ground and I'm running around in square circles. And the individual that I really love, because my satisfaction comes from the success of turning him and making him successful without his preconceived ideas. And that is the individual that says, oh yeah, I know how to do that. Oh yeah, I know how to do that. I've done that. I can do that. Well, my friend, if you've done it, why aren't you?
Right.
And those are the folks I really love to work with, because it's not that I want to show them that I've got something better than them. Not at all. What I want to show them is how the real world actually lives and behaves, and how to create the attitude that they need to be successful. Because it is an attitude. If your mind is geared correctly, the work that you're going to attract and deliver and be part of comes with, as the French say, je ne sais quoi, which means with I don't know how not to do this. It's a natural instinct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it puts a spring in your step. It really does.
Good. That's good because, I have talked with a lot of different, I guess they're business coaches, business planners, before. But when you were sharing with me what you actually put together for someone, it is in much more detail than anything that I've seen before when I saw your example. How long does that process take for you to get someone to come in, share their ideas, or at least let you know what level they're on, to when you provide that form or that report that you showed me once before?
Roderick, the entire process from the get-go to the final delivery of the integration can be a process of up to 7 to 12 months. And that 5-month period at the end is on how far the business owner or entrepreneur wants to extend the new vision and path that sits in front of them. I've had guys that after the initial 6-month engagement, because my process is I do the plan in 1 month, I engage for a further 6 months, so it's a total of 7, to implement and integrate. Because there's no point in spending money on a plan that you're going to leave on the top shelf gathering dust.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather not engage with you if that's the intention. I would like to take you on a journey that I'm going to be able to create enough enthusiasm in you to take this prize to the finish line and go over it and claim your prize of success. That's the size of the prize, success. And small companies, generally a 7-month engagement. A medium-sized company, and this is dependent on 2 criteria: number of people in the business and the revenue. The two are interlinked. A medium-sized company can take normally around 12 months, and a corporate company that has in excess of 100 people working in it and multiple branches nationwide or whatever it might be, or agents, that can take up to 1.5 to 2 years to complete the implementation process. The crafting of the business plan remains at about a month, between 1 and 3 months, depending on the size of the business. The more people, the more moving parts, the more complex.
Mm-hmm.
But the principle and the template that drives it remains the same. So, based on what I've just said, the implementation and integration is where it takes time.
Right. Seems like you can get in there and put together the plan because you've seen so many different businesses and you've been through so many different situations. I mean, over 40 years or 36 years in, major corporate business has given you that particular experience. Now, I have an idea that you can help from the smallest business to that medium-sized business. Do you have a specific industry that you have found is a good target for you, or are you agnostic? What does that look like for you?
I'm industry and location agnostic. And simply because industry, you can be a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker. Your business problems are of the same category. Okay? Location, because I do everything via Zoom and Microsoft Teams, doesn't matter where you are. I've helped startup companies, and you know of one of them, in the Marietta, Georgia area, Atlanta area. I have other startups in California that I've worked with. I've got other startups in Vancouver in Canada. I'm currently working with a startup group of companies in Wales in the UK. And startups are exciting to work with. And that's because the energy levels of the business owner, the entrepreneur, are so high. Man, you can feel it, you can touch it, you can see it. And that makes my job so much easier. Established companies, of course, I get a thrill out of working for them because I'm learning something new about a new industry, a new culture, a new company culture. It doesn't have to be a corporate culture, new company culture. And the perception of how they do things. And then I can introduce an international flavor and dynamic to that business because my experience is global. My experience is different to the day-to-day that happens in the United States.
Yeah, that is true because it seems like, again, you had, especially that last company, you said you were over in Africa, in Asia, in Middle East. There are a lot of different types of individuals that you have to navigate around to make things happen. Different customs, shaking hands or fist bumps or hugs or bowing. All of those things have given you a different level of experience that a lot of us just don't have. And that's what we like having our guests come on to share so they can see there are other ways to see things, not just from the way that you're currently viewing. So that gives us an idea of, who you can help, small to medium-sized businesses. Industry doesn't matter because of the experiences that you've had over your lifetime. Another element that I always focus on is my networking partners, our referral partners. Now, who have you found while you have been helping businesses to do this are good referral partners for yourself?
A good referral partner for me would be attorneys, CPAs, accounting firms, coaches. Now, there is a big difference between a business coach and a business consultant. A coach works on upskilling the talent of the business owner. A consultant works with the hard facts of the business. He will also have the opportunity to mentor and coach the business owner through the data that's being provided. Big difference. Not one and the same person.
Right.
Roderick, I have the privilege of sharing that I have, on the one end, a medical doctor as a client, and I have a multinational engineering business, heavy industry business as another client. And I've got a lot in between: lawyers, accounting firms, furniture manufacturers, IT companies, and a variety of others. I've got freight and logistics as well. So I'm very blessed. I consider myself very blessed to have the diversity that I have and the learning experience that I've had by engaging with these people. And a lot of these companies come back to me for a second iteration of engagement because they either want to buy a competitor or they want to be sold to a competitor. And they want me to champion that transition.
So you're helping them to exit out as well, not only to grow it from the get-go, but if they're already going and they want to exit out, you help prep them to exit too?
Absolutely. My business plans do include an exit strategy, as they do a continuity plan. And that was very, very topical during the start of the pandemic. I'll give you another funny story. A client of mine out of Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, wanted to know, what is this business continuity section in my business plan? What on earth is this? And his laptop died while he was sitting in his truck. The battery died. So he came back on his mobile phone, and we continued our Zoom call on his phone. And I said to him, Kevin, you asked me what the continuity piece of my plan was with regard to you. You're in construction. He said, yeah. I said, I'm going to send you a picture of a device that I want you to go and pop down to the nearest Walmart and go and buy it. It will cost you $29.99. He says, what's that? So I said, it is a cigar lighter that's got an adapter for your laptop. And it will charge the battery for your laptop.
Right.
And I said, this won't happen again. And he says to me, you've got to be joking. I said, go and do it. And he did. He phoned me back later on that night on a signal call. And he said to me, this thing works an absolute treat. For $30, I can now do my business anywhere. I said, that's right.
So
he says,
small
I won't ask you dumb questions again.
Yeah, those small things, you know, you never really think about those things, you know, and I see those are, you know, those additional things that you highlight, you know, yes, we always look at the overwhelming picture of where we're trying to go. Yes, we want to exit at this amount of millions of dollars and all those types of things. But that $30 device could stop you from getting to that exit. You know, you could be in a meeting and then, you know, turn a customer off because of how that happened, where it couldn't have been avoided by a small investment.
Absolutely. Now, $30, come on.
Yeah, that's nothing to it. Now with our entrepreneurs, you know, it's good to look at these stories, you know, hear you share with them when it comes to the business wise. Now, you shared earlier in the interview that you were able to exit at the top of your game. So I usually ask if you had all the money in the world, but you just might have it all since you were able to leave as a top executive. But, you know, moving away from business in itself so the entrepreneurs can know you're a human as well. If you had all the money in the world, what would you do? What would you do?
Continue to help people just to see the satisfaction on their faces once they get to their finish line and they cross it.
That's awesome. That's awesome to know.
There's nothing more rewarding than that.
I get it. A lot of people say fishing, shopping. A lot of people say go and spend time with their family members they didn't get a chance to see. But I love how you said your giving heart just flowed out and said, hey, I still would want to help people see success. That's a different answer than I received before.
Roderick, pardon me, when I retired at the age of 60, because the corporate world, multinational world, you get to the age of 60 and they want to put you out to pasture. Now, two things crossed my mind. One, I'm too young, even at 60, with too much energy to be put out to pasture. But the truth of it is that if my wife and I sat at home together, there would only be one survivor, and I don't think it would be me.
So you got to stay busy, huh? Stay out of her hair. You say, hey, look, I want to spend time with you, but not that much time. I get it.
You get my drift.
I understand. I can understand that. Well, hey, like I said, with today, you've done such a great job of sharing your journey of, where you have been. You started off by serving in the military, which is giving back to your country, which is always a big thing. Going into corporate, moving far away from home. I know you had family member down there, but you just really took on a new challenge that is very symbolic with these entrepreneurs, because although it may not be a ton of distance away, they're leaving the umbrella of a corporate or a regular job to go out there and do it themselves. So I love that similarity. Words of wisdom, or, the last word, as we call it in this show. What would you have to share? Again, you can sing a song. You don't have to give words of inspiration or a scripture or a poem. But what would you like to share with everyone to take away?
Dream big and have faith in yourself. Because the success or failure of your business looks back at you in the mirror every single day. Makes sense. You are control of it. And if something doesn't happen right, or there's lack of effort, there's only one person to blame. And that's the person that's looking back at you. Now, Roy, how can the people get in contact with you if they're interested in reaching out to you for your services? I have a website and I'm on Facebook. The website is www.synergeticinterpretations.com, or on Facebook, Synergetic Interpretations. All my contact details are there, emails, telephone numbers, etc. And I really look forward to meeting new folks as a result of today. And Roderick, I thank you for the camaraderie that you've shown me in the last year and a half that we've known each other. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. We have created a couple different things to continue to bring value to our clients, bring value to our referral partners. And you have been there, pretty much the entire time. When we created that networking event via Zoom, you are always there, even till today. So we truly appreciate you and all that you have done to help us to become better. If nothing else, to show this man is all the way in South Africa, but he still comes every other week. It's a magnificent thing. So we truly do appreciate you and look forward to trying to help you in any form or fashion that we can. And to everyone, please reach out to Roy so you can learn something. Absolutely. And if they can't remember the details, may I ask that they reach back to yourself and you just forward the communication. I will definitely do that. So thanks again, Roy. We truly appreciate your time today, and we will see you soon. I look forward to it.